Hello, hello. StreamYard didn't kick me off, y'all. My bad. I dropped the link for anybody that wants to join the panel and talk about business in their area. But like I was saying, I also see that there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of Nigerians in Houston that's pretty much capitalizing off of real estate. Real estate is actually a beautiful thing due to the fact that there's tax advantages. You can roll over your taxes. You can build, fix, and flip, roll over to another property. A lot of people like to use and abuse it to get loans against it, which I do not recommend unless you're going to finance on something bigger. There's a lot of people that take a lot of their checks and put it into allotment counts for real estate REITs. Investing in a REIT is pretty much the safest way. But for people that want to be able to get out there and hunt, they pretty much do the financing into some properties. Commercial real estate tends to have the most tax breaks. A lot of people like renting out their own houses, which I'm not against, but there is a lot of liability. There's also people that needs to be using is the first time buyer, 3.5% down payment. That's also the cheapest way to get involved in a property as well. I did research around the YouTube streets, and I saw that there's a couple brothers that managed to take advantage of the 3.5% down payment and got into a $200,000 asset, making payments on it, and pretty much refi. And if you're going to refi, a lot of people say 65% loan to value, but there's a lot of people that pretty much go balls to the wall and take 80% equity out and finance on another property, or tax deeds and tax liens as well. I put the link in the chat, man. Somebody need to come up, man. Somebody need to chop up business, real estate, something. Put the link in the chat because I'm trying to see if anybody that's trying to talk about some business, some real estate, what's going on in your market, What's the 411? Who is trying to invest in what? Who's trying to scale up on which property? Who's trying to scheme on which property? Because real estate is always going to be here. They say that there's a real estate crash and it works. I do see that happening. I do see that happening. I don't think either or party can be able to restrict the blow that it's going to happen. But if property's going to dip, say if there's houses that's $500,000 right now, and the market is really bad, where there's a lot of foreclosures, and the foreclosures are the bad apples that ruin a neighborhood's equity value. Houses that's 500,000 probably dip around 375, 420. Yeah, Detroit houses is super cheap. Yeah, Detroit, I think it's going to be a 20-year play. In the auto industry, that not being there hurt Detroit a lot. I think Detroit, I think Michigan either they legalized marijuana or they have medical there, and they pretty much have a land deal that was did I think 2 years ago. And really, Detroit needs a new look. They need to either focus on either the growing aspect, the tech. They need their local governments to negotiate tax abatements to tech companies to supply jobs. Say if they can supply 25,000 jobs at 60,000 to 70,000 a year, that will help the real estate investors because they can charge more rent due to the market justifying it. A lot of dudes that are investing in Detroit, they are making a lot of killings. A lot of people can buy houses at 3,500, fix, flip, sell it for 12 to 15,000. That's amazing thing. Detroit has a low barrier entry, so you don't need a whole stockpile of cash. But the markets as an overall, Detroit would definitely need somebody that can be either a job creator or somebody that can be able to negotiate the tax breaks, because really tech is already here. If they can negotiate something with Amazon or Apple, Google, they need to be able to find something. Warehousing, somebody needs to be able to negotiate something when it comes to tax breaks, because I believe in tax breaks, man. You need to incentivize business. You need to be pro-business area in order to be able to make sure that your area can be able to benefit. Detroit is a 20-year play. They say it's a 50-year play with Detroit, but I think it's a 20-year play. Houses in Detroit is dirt cheap. Houses in St. Louis, I noticed, dirt cheap. Houses in Montgomery, Alabama, Hoover, Alabama, cheap. I was also looking at something in Florida as well. Detroit has a lot of opportunities, all that needed people who can do the research and develop a strategy. All it takes one person. That person will eventually lead as a CEO. I agree with you, Screen Learning. Matter of fact, Screen, here's a link for you, dog. We need more intelligence. We need more intelligentsia in this panel, man. We need more intelligentsia in this panel, man, because there's opportunities to be made. People that's doom and gloom and everything, that's okay. That's cool. You go that way, I go my own way, because I don't need that negative energy around me. I don't need people that are naysayers and doubters, because when you're doubting everything, eventually somebody's going to wind up gentrifying your block if you don't own your house. And that's literally people falling prey due to lack of ignorance or lack of self-awareness in their market. Because with opportunity zones, people say that's a gateway to gentrification, and I can actually somewhat agree to that. But that's because of people are investing in real estate over creating service businesses. That's really because if there was more service businesses created in opportunity zones, then that would actually kind of counterbalance all the big developments in real estate being involved. Screen, salute.
Hey, what's going on? I'm not really prepared to cam up, unfortunately, but
No problem, brother. I just need somebody to dialogue about business, man. I don't want to be the only one in this joint for
well,
too long, man.
unfortunately, the reason why you're the only, you're one of few people talking about economics and business as opposed to other channels that are right now talking about child support and whatnot is because and I mean, I don't want to go on a long diatribe, but we have to understand that we all come up in a system where we're programmed, trained, and conditioned to be employees and to think like employees. So you got pre-K 3, you got pre-K 4, you got kindergarten, and it's all about being in a collective, which is a classroom, and respecting and following the authority of one person, which is the teacher. And we are constantly being given stuff and we have to regurgitate it for tests. And then once we graduate, the role of the teacher or the leader turns into a manager, supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
CEO, and we're still conditioned to want to follow one person while we're in a mass, and that mass would be entry level. So when we have these discussions, we're kind of having the discussion on the other side of the table that we're not trained or conditioned to be on. So people are going to revert to easier topics in dialogue because that's what they've been trained to do. And you and I, we've worked to get ourselves out of being programmed. We started being business owners. We have employees. We're investing. We take fun and selfish pleasure in personal development. So we've almost unprogrammed ourselves and reprogrammed ourselves, but other people may have spiraled down into lower and lower echelons of thinking, and they're focused on, child support, fighting with people about talking points, celebrity news, different things that's not going to help them or their generation out economically. But we need those people to be like that. And here's why. You need someone who is okay with aspiring to be nothing more than a cashier. You need someone who's okay with cleaning bathrooms, flipping burgers, and they really don't want to move up in the company. They don't want to raise. And the reason being is because if that person aspires to move up, then you have to replace that person. If that person only aspires to be in that low level job, then that low level job will be filled, and that person, content in being the burger flipper, the bathroom cleaner, the person who gets trash, if they're content in that, then that helps the rest of society be where it is, because you can't have a middle class and upper class unless you have a lower class who's willing to live a low class life and have a low class way of thinking. So the reason why you're alone is because you're walking a path that is seldom traced down by design. So the focus, in my opinion, is not really to want to save everyone, but understand that we have to be the leaders. We got to be individualists, and whoever we hire, whoever is at the level that we are on or a little bit higher, we can work with them and do business with them. But you really can't be a CEO of a company of, let's say, 9,000 people if you don't have at least 1,000 that are okay with being low level. So don't be discouraged, because it's designed to be like this. Every society is like this, where you have to have a bottom in order to have a middle and a top. I think the focus really should be aligning ourselves with people who are already on the path, working on prosperity. They take fun and selfish pleasure in economic advancement and also personal development. And those that are having, low intelligent thinking, low intelligent conversations, doing different things where their actions put them into situations that have consequences, we got to let them be. We got to let them be, and we have to take people as is and accept them for who they are and who they're not.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because I'm not in the business of convincing people. I'm into uh, being more of a service. Anybody that's ready to get to the business, people that don't need convincing, people that know their actual business plan, people that actually know their actual purpose in life. Then that's what my channel is for. I'm not in the, like with the child support thing. A lot of the child support issues can be solved by lobbying. Mr. Research already pretty much proved that by the laws that he actually put money up for lobbying to get a lot of stuff done in Memphis, Texas. And when it comes to I forgot what's the law specifically, but it involved someone trying paternity fraud. Someone that, some woman that pretty much pregnant, and they need somebody to put the rap on. And they pretty much put you as the father of record. It's the father of record law. There you go, father of record law, and that's paternity fraud. So the man is not even there. He's not even in the same state. He probably visited the state 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and he's deemed the father. Now, certain stuff like that needs to be lobbied. Certain stuff that needs to be lobbied in order to be able to, hear me?
Yeah, it is Borging.
I'm Borging.
Yeah,
I'm Borging. I'm still Borging.
StreamYard is weird. Are you using a USB mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah,
Like
you're
I
loud
was
and clear.
saying,
Are you using a USB mic?
Nah, man, I'm just using my regular earbuds, man. I think I
Yeah,
need to
that
take
that,
these
that,
joints
that
off.
might be the issue because it's like with StreamYards, you got to use like certain type of mics. It's weird, but go ahead. I don't want to keep cutting you off. But go ahead.
But can you hear me now?
Yeah, now you're loud and clear.
But like I was saying, that a lot of stuff can be handled based on lobbying, and I understand. And it doesn't even take multi-million-dollar lobbying. It's just pretty much but it's either getting $10,000 up and say, okay, this is the problem. We address the problem. Where can we find a lobbyist lawyer? If the lobbyist lawyer wants a higher amount, then it's up for brothers to be able to step their game up, man. More business owners are lobbyists than actual workers, and this is including doctors and uh, doctors, lawyers. Uh, if you want to see something done, you need to get in that business realm. You need to start getting in that business realm and start figuring out how can you lobby for stronger results. I'm still Borging her. I
Yeah,
am still Borging her.
yeah. It may be the
This
headphones.
is some bull. This is some this is some bullshit right here. But lobbying. I hope anybody that heard that, lobbying, research lobbying. If you want to see something done, we got to get off our ass and be able to figure out what can we do and find pragmatic solution. Because nobody's not going to give us the blueprint to be able to figure out our own problems, man. People are not going to blueprint the solution for us. We got to figure out how can we be able to move forward. Because the child support laws, yes, child support laws do affect men a lot. Visitation laws, I agree a lot. Divorce laws, I agree a lot. But it either takes the lobbying or setting up proper entities to be able to make sure that everything is negotiated and you can be able to um, make sure your war chest is pretty much sealed and protected. A lot of dudes, they just come in the game, naked, financially, uh, mentally, and also strategically, man. Because we got to think 3 or 4 steps ahead. And if we can't think that far, then I think it's due to laziness. Because I think a lot of people, if they got their mind into it, like they say, like parents say, if you would know more of your times tables than you know every character on the TV screen, you'll be a winner in school. And I have that belief when it comes to business and when it comes to policy and negotiation. If you focus more time and researching instead of watching and consuming, you'll be at a better standpoint when it comes to these monkey wrenches that life like to throw at us. Am I still boarding?
A
Am
little
I?
bit. I think talking slower has really helped with the board game. But I do agree with the lobbying, and all that really boils down to money and also the solutions actually to everyone's problem have already been solved. People have written books. The books are in the library. They're in Barnes and Noble. There's even electronic versions in online libraries. You can go to your local library's website and access a lot of electronic books, ebooks, and they have the same information as the paper books. The main issue is where we spend time for self-development. Because, for example, let's say if someone's like, I really want to build a house, I really want to buy a commercial property to rent out to businesses and have them as renters. Well, you can have access to the capital if you borrow against your assets. You can
Hmm.
also get access to capital with micro lending. Also, you can get access to capital using the paycheck from your job. If you invest in yourself first before you pay your bills, in time, you will have the capital to do whatever you want to, as far as as far as a down payment. And also, you can walk into a bank or credit union and simply ask about, let's say, building purchase process and about getting approved for a loan, and they'll tell you the criteria that you need to be. You may have to apply, which is a soft inquiry on a credit report, but at least you'll have a blueprint when you walk out of there on what you need to work on in order to secure said loan. There's a lot of options, but like I said before, investing is 10% money, 90% changing the way we think, getting the information and accepting it, pointing to different things like things that happened in the past or the boogeyman or systemic racism. That stuff is valid, but pointing to those reasons is not going to allow you to move forward. All it's going to have you do is run a race on a treadmill. So we definitely have access to capital. The phone that's in our pocket gives us access to the outside world, and all we need to do is plan for it. And most people don't really want to plan or strategize. They just want to kind of come on panels and talk, or they just want to go to their job, not be bothered with anybody. They want to be comfortable, have their head down, and kind of just pay their bills, make a family, and just ride off into the sunset. So people who really want to build will build. And I think that that process really can be started with parents working with their children. And instead of buying children stuff whenever you go to Walmart, or just giving them gifts for holidays like Christmas and their birthday, or giving them an allowance for doing chores, if we start with our children in regards to buying different things that they create, it will encourage them to want to create stuff when they get older. So if your kid paints a picture, instead of you just saying, hey, I'll take that picture, put it on my refrigerator, buy it from your kid. And if you don't like the painting, or you don't want to buy it from your kid, tell your kid, I don't want to buy it. So it teaches them about rejection, and it gives them an early introduction into capitalism. We as parents, we as adults, we have to cultivate the next generation and the generation after that by having them included in our plans. And also, we have to change the way we think about money. Worshiping money, doing the money phone, all that stuff is hurting us, because if you have money sitting in a checking account or savings account, it's not really doing much for you. Yes, you could be getting 3 cents here and there, but a certificate of deposit, 401k, IRA, money just sitting there and accumulating, but not really working for you. All it does is as soon as you spend it somewhere else, because you're going to spend it eventually, it's just going to help someone else get rich. So entrepreneurship and focusing on getting more inflows than outflows, and then having those outflows go into assets, all that is really key to the building block of building a better tomorrow.
Yeah, man, because we have to cultivate that to our kids early. Because if we can be able to hit them early, nothing can stop them, man. Because there's a lot of stuff that kids being influenced right off the gate, right off the bat, being influenced. And when it comes to investment, business, and credit, even parents that may not have that understanding, we need parents to be more mature to understand that if I may not understand it, I need to focus on what do I need to do so I can understand it, so I can be able to relate to them and make stronger kids. Like, there's too many people that doesn't understand credit. People don't understand insurance policies, and when other cultures take advantage of it, then we pretty much either chalk it off as the WS boogeyman, or, well, that's what they're supposed to do. Well, that's what we're supposed to do too. And it's saddening when you got a lot of people that discourage that stuff. Even the smart parents, a lot of parents, they are not financially literate, and when it comes to finances and business, they start growling, they start getting irritated, irritable. That's another problem that I also see going on. I guess if somebody's not well versed in that industry, then what can they pretty much put as input? But lack of ownership hurts us even more, man, because we can't always be the consistent victim when it comes to the big boy development. When big boy developers come to a city and say, okay, we negotiate our tax abatement with the local government. We got funds ready to be deployed in opportunity zones. And we also have money for land development, and also creating a business that pretty much supplies probably 2,500 jobs in a city that has a population of 100,000 or more. A lot of the stuff is pretty much intricate, detailed research. A lot of people got researchers over researchers to research what's going on. And if you don't know, you better find out. Like Method Man said on this one interview, Method Man said the people that got the pen and paper and trying to figure it out, those are going to be the ones that's going to be winning.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
go ahead.
So, yeah, man, this is coming from a rapper, man. Most rappers are not financially literate and astute. A lot of rappers either rely too heavily on their business managers to do their business for them, go to business meetings, and when their career is over, they realize that, wait a minute, I had #1 singles, I had 100 million spins on Spotify. Where my money? Where my money? And I like to also cross over to another thing that I saw. Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's because they're employees. Even though they're rappers making millions of dollars, same thing with the ball players. They're employees. They're not the owners. So for them, like we see that their contract is like, let's say $200 million, but they also have to pay for the medical services they get. They got to pay for that. They got to pay for an agent. They got to pay for a lawyer. Then they get cars, they get houses, that costs money. And then also sometimes ball players have to pay for their own hotel rooms when they travel with the teams. That's why they're paid so much money. Also, you have it to where they may end, when they get their checks can't go to Bank of America. Their checks have to go to like a wealth firm to be able to house all that money. And then you have a whole bunch of fees associated with that. Sometimes they'll need access to their money, but if the money's not available, so they borrow against it, just like how you borrow against a 401k and IRA. And that's how it gets depleted very quickly. There's a lot of factors that goes into it. And most of them, like the rappers, they're street dudes. So when they sign these contracts, they have to rely on a manager, a lawyer, and then like let's say if they fire their manager or lawyer, then they're scrambling finding someone else, and they holler at their homeboy. Their homeboy knows a guy who knows a guy, and it's just not. Unfortunately, the best time to learn about money is before you get it, and a lot of them they get it very quickly. They don't have time to react. They'll have a meeting about one thing, and then here comes the management company or record label bringing out a contract, or it comes time to sign a contract with the owner, and the owner has his lawyer there, and the owner will say, well, you can use my lawyer or you can hire your own. And these guys, they don't really know much about anything. So I agree with you with the whole financial literacy.
Yeah, that's conflict of interest right there. That's conflict of interest right there, where somebody appoint you a manager and a lawyer, and they're all in one not one corporation, but all in one group. That's a setup for somebody taking your monies, creating a.
Well, how they work it is it'll be the same law firm but two different lawyers. That's how they kind of work. But yeah, I agree. It is no, you're right. It's a conflict of interest, but you'll call the law firm and they'll be like, okay, we can get you a discount on a lawyer. Susie over here, she's a different lawyer at the same firm. She'll represent you and she'll read over everything and explain stuff to you, because a lawyer's job is just to interpret legalese. That's all they really do is interpret legalese, and they give you a fee, or they get money from a settlement. So I mean, it is what it is. And you're right. Once they get older, they spent their whole time being employees, never striving to be owners. Look at how LeBron James and how much he makes. Look at how much all the ball players make. And I've yet to hear any basketball, football, hockey player really talk about being an owner. I mean, you know, Michael Jordan, I think he's a partial owner of the Charlotte the Bobcats right now.
I think he's the sole. I think they gave him. I think he's the sole ownership because Bob
Yeah.
Johnson, he was the previous owner. I think he's either the majority, the full out owner, or he probably has a lot of stake in it. I think it's either 52%, 50%, 51% and be the majority. But yeah,
Okay.
man, a lot of dudes is not focusing on ownership. A lot of dudes want somebody to be able to do it for them. Like I watch a lot of Master P's old stuff and how he pretty much had everybody with a business. Everybody had some cash. Everybody was pretty much good, but they sold off their businesses for the fast cash. A lot of them didn't keep consistent cash flow going in order to make sure the principal that they got was still generating some type of income. And you know, you have dudes that were pretty much just blew their whole life and their career off, like Mystical, C Murder. You know, too many dudes. Soldier Slim, he gone. Too many dudes pretty much waste the opportunities, man. A lot of dudes is not actively on the ball when it comes to business because it's not their job really to teach you about the business, man. Because it's every man for himself. Then this gets cutthroat, especially when you don't know the person, don't have a common goal or common interest. Something where if he doesn't do his part, that the whole business can be destroyed due to the fact that it's supposed to be a team effort. A lot of people don't understand that business is also something that needs to be on paper. A lot of dudes do a lot of business that is not very suitable. Like a lot of things not on record, like no promissory notes, no notarized papers. Like if you're into business, everything has to be done correctly. Michael Vick, he then got cleaned out from his financial advisor. Some Asian woman pretty much took up to $100 million of his money, left the country, and pretty much had a power of attorney clause, pretty much where they control and dominate anything. You don't even have to be in the room, and they can still close deals and don't tell you about anything. Keep the checks all to themselves. That's how a lot of these dudes get messed around.
But that's how power of attorney works, though. That's how power of attorney works, though. I mean, that's there. Anytime you sign power of attorney to anybody, there's no like positive way that's going
Doug,
to end for you.
Thank you for the super chat, Doug. Thank you for the super chat, Doug. Salute to you. Thank you for supporting this channel. Everything is all appreciated. Thank you. But go on.
Well, yeah, there's like just the whole aspect of power of attorney. Once you sign it over to someone, they can start making business deals on your behalf, and you become powerless. But that's just it. You know, we can hire lawyers that can help us interpret legalese, but as soon as you walk in and people know how much you're worth, you automatically have a target on your back. So you're right. You do have to have financial literacy. And it's a shame that unfortunately there's some people that they're not going to be able to afford to be around people who can really help them or afford to have someone teach them. They have to do it on their own. They have to take an interest in finance, economics, contract law, legalese. They got to take an interest in all that before they blow up. Like really take an interest in it as soon as you can read, because once an opportunity falls in your lap, now it's almost like a sprint to whatever finish line there is. And most of the time you just got a bunch of people who, you know, they're in it for themselves. They're in it to make money for themselves. They're not in it to make money for you. Even the fiduciary investors or fiduciary wealth management people, they also can circumvent the system and you know, kind of bend things to their will and get over. So the thing is people have to some point in their life, they have to take a selfish pleasure in educating themselves, going to libraries, watching YouTube channels dedicated to like finance like yours and education, and they got to just take that time to be exposed to that stuff, because if not, what ends up happening is they find themselves in an opportunist position as far as what they believe, but then it turns out not to be exactly what they thought, and it was on them. They're signing a whole bunch of paperwork, they're reading it, but it's like they don't really understand.
Yeah, and pretty much they will exploit the opportunity. They will exploit the opportunity, because if you don't know your business, then anything can be said. They can do all types of witchamaroos. But a lot of people, another gem that I got from heard from Master P in his interviews, he said he had multiple lawyers from different firms, from different areas, where the connection isn't so integrated, to be able to avoid collusion, conflict of interest, or any type of sidestepping. And also Warren Buffett used this method as well. Multiple firms to be able to do due diligence, and also they do a financial audit every year. Well, at least Master P said he does a financial audit every year. So the money that he spend, he knows that he spend, but to also make sure that the bookkeeping is on file, nobody's not stealing money or cooking the books. All these hyperinflated fees and charges all in your accounts, basically for nothing. I saw one real estate developer. I think his name was Sam Zell, and he said that he saw his receipt and saw that toilet paper was $30. They charged toilet paper for $30. Coffee, $25. All these BS charges that they pretty much jack up, and everything, pretty much just doing regular stuff on your dollar. And this is coming from somebody that's financially astute. Sam Zell owns $71 billion in real estate properties, net worth $10 billion easily. This is someone that's a very astute business owner, understands leverage, understands business operations. And even he said that they try to yank him on the price, trying to yank him on the price, trying to mess him over on the price. So there's a lot of methods that need to be utilized, like financial auditing. They get the big three. I can't think of the big three financial auditors in the nation, but they usually go find the big three in order to be able to look at the books, make sure everything is clean, make sure everything is organized. But I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't trust no financial advisor, no matter how much money that I have, due to the fact that I don't know what his intentions are, and a lot of stuff I can manage on my own. But if I'm not in the room, I don't want nobody signing the contract. If I'm not in the room present, I don't want nobody to be able to forge my name and be able to just sign contracts, pocket the deals, and don't tell me nothing. Don't report back on nothing. No.
Yeah, the big four accounting firms is Ernst & Young, KPMG, Deloitte, and Pricewater. So yeah, but even if people are in the room and everyone's hitting them with stuff, unfortunately, a lot of people don't really self-teach on accountancy, or haven't taken an accounting class to effectively be able to handle their finances, and that's just it. But I look at most of the NBA players where they had their managers take care of them, and most of those managers were people that I'm not going to, the race of them doesn't really matter. I'm going to say that the players already had studied and learned about business administration. That way, when they walked in with a plan. So what I do is I do the research on what I want, come up with a strategy, and I walk in the door with a plan, and I already know exactly what the firm offers. So I ask for I ask for specific elements within my plan. when I went to Bank of America and was asking for a business investor account, they told me they didn't offer it anymore. And they were trying to get me to get a 401k or an IRA instead of being able to just invest freely with my business. And I already did the research on what I wanted. I already knew what I wanted and what right looked like. So when walking in, I already had my strategy in hand. I already had paperwork, and I was willing to, I already knew exactly what I wanted, what I didn't want. And I was able to, I mean, I didn't tell them my background or anything, but I was able to call them out on their BS and get exactly what I wanted because I came up with the strategy before I walked in the door. The problem that a lot of us have is we walk in and we don't know what we really want. We kind of guess and we go off what other people have told us, but we don't use the tool in our pocket, which is the cell phone, to do the research, find out what's available, and find out exactly what's not available, but being able to ask for it by maybe another name or another product or something. So that's just it. Before you even walk in the door, you got to already have your strategy down packed, just like you have to have your basketball plays already rehearsed and already ready to go before the game. Same thing for football. Once you get on the field, it's go time. Practice is over with. And that's a problem a lot of people face is they want to walk on the field with no plan, no training. They want to walk in and they want to make demands, but it's just like, well, the demands they're making, they may end up getting a no, and then they settle because they're desperate, because they're hungry. They're like, well, I really want a record deal. I really want to play ball. I really want to be in business, and I want to sell my trinkets. I'll take whatever I can get because I'm desperate. And you see it on different shows like Shark Tank. People walk in there, they're fumbling with their presentation because they haven't really rehearsed a presentation. They don't really know much about return on investment. They don't know anything about what their profit margin is. They don't know, they don't really have those stats. They don't really know their business as well as they thought. And it could be because they're operating like a mom and pops, which nothing wrong with the mom and pops. Everybody got to start from somewhere. But a lot of us end up wanting to operate a bootleg business, and they're just like, well, I'll just cross that bridge when I get there, as opposed to having a full picture before they start painting.
Yeah, man, because a lot of people that come in the game of business don't understand that everything is pretty much prepared, negotiated, and rehearsed. They got the negotiations already in their mind. Oh, hey, Maya. Oh, how you doing? Oh, I forgot. Hi, everybody. I forgot to shout out the chat. But when it comes to business, everything is a negotiated structure. It's not. Nobody's not half-assing it. Nope. Everything is pretty much chose. Well, hell, the athlete has been chose, because really a lot of these firms, man, they get over on these athletes too easy. It's damn near stealing. It damn near turns stealing. And like, you got Tim Duncan cleaned out. You got Kevin Garnett walking out the lawyer's office, pissed off, trying to figure out where his 70 million went. Like, a lot of these dudes, people that I know that's in the industry and that knows these dudes, they said that a lot of these dudes was not preparing for nothing. They pretty much thought that the money from being an athlete was going to last forever. A lot of them say, well, shit, I got this 80 million for 5-year contract. I already caught the bus. Why do I need to keep running? That's their mentality. And not knowing that financial is wealth. It's wealth creation. Well, it's wealth accumulation, wealth creation, wealth management. And like, there's some dividends that if I was around them, I could pretty much throw them that dividend plan. Like, man, you got $100 million there, $100 million. There's dividends that can give you 7 to 8% on your money on the safe route, and pretty much try to cash flow that, reinvest it in more dividends like real estate. Like Jamal Mashburn, he's basketball, but pretty much took all his money and put in fast food franchises. He pretty much did the same model and method as Junior Bridgman, fast food franchises. And I hate to keep going back on, but Master P, he pretty much real estate, fast food franchises, products. Like every time I see him, he got a new product ready to sell with inventory ready, with a traffic and an audience base literally ready, actively watching them. You know, a lot of these dudes are not very entrepreneurial. I don't know if it's basically them being complacent and saying, well, I got a lot of money. We got this and we got that, and pretty much just one year after the other. And that's how these dudes get caught up, man. Because man, if you're not in this table and you're literally not at the table, anything can happen. Anything can happen. They can create a Delaware LLC and pretty much transfer the funds into that and pretty much say, okay, hasta la vista. And pretty much just vanish off the face of the earth with your money in a foreign entity, because Delaware LLCs is considered a foreign entity. And pretty much just took your money, stored somewhere else, put in a pocket, and they used your money to buy their real estate properties. And it's sad because these dudes can literally be billionaires. Now, Patrick Mahomes, he did a smart move when he got that $503 million 13-year contract. He pretty much owns part of the Kansas City Royals. That's a smart move. You know, stake ownership in anything is better than no ownership in nothing. So you got the Patrick Mahomes. He's the top dog. Everybody's saying that Lamar Jackson is next to get a big, massive contract for the Baltimore Ravens. Now these contracts is insane, and that's only after I saw that got these massive contracts and still actually pulled it into something. Is Alex Rodriguez, J-Lo's. They're not married, but I guess they're dating. But J-Lo's boyfriend, he got that 252. Well, first it was the 252 million in Texas. Then his second deal that he did in 2007 with the Yankees, about 275 million. And now from a voice accord, he owns about 1,200 apartment buildings. That's what parlaying money correctly looks like in its actual realization. Because people getting involved in real estate franchises, they the ones tend to do way better than the ones that, like Chris Johnson. He used to play for the Tennessee Titans. Now he want to be a rapper. Arian Foster, another NFL player. He played for the Houston Texans in 2012. Now he wants to be a rapper or rapping currently. And don't get me wrong, you know, I have no issue with people going for their dreams or what they wanted to do. But it's about cash flow. It's literally about cash flow. You know, wasting time chasing pipe dreams and everything. That's time wasting. That's time wasting, and that's wasting capital. Because Chris Johnson literally took $1 million to invest in his record label. Give me $1 million, I'm gonna find a $4 million apartment building. I'm gonna finance it and pretty much get property management, negotiate a deal with them. They get their 6% every month just for managing, and we can move it forward like that. But
yes,
go ahead, Screen.
It also boils down to, you're financially literate. So people, when they shop around for a financial a planner or a manager, they may end up getting someone that they don't look into that person's track record. I did a video on the 7 mistakes when finding a financial planner. They may not look into the person's track record, or they may not understand what's being said to them, but they say yes anyway, or the person could be lying to them. There's a whole host of different things that goes on, and people just got to be able to do the research themselves and figure out what they want. And then also when we hear about contracts, we're not hearing about all the little details, because even though someone may sign to 80 million for, like, let's say 1 year, they don't get access to that money until like 6 months later, because it's such a large amount, because the check has to be cut after a certain period of time. So they're having to work, travel, and do things on their own dime, but they don't have that dime. So they end up having to borrow against the money that they haven't even received yet. And also, you got situations like with Scottie Pippen. He wants to take care of his family, take care of his friends. So he ends up signing bad deals to guarantee money. There's a whole. I mean, even with Master P, there's. I mean, he says a lot of great things about his journey, but he's only going to tell you the positives.
Of course, they all
I've heard rumors about the. I've heard rumors about negatives of. I mean, I've heard rumors about the negatives, and I think the main thing is the time to start reading about different financial vehicles, asset classes, business administration. The best time to read about it is now, especially before you get money, before you go into business, before you invest, because the more you know, the more you can grow. And in my opinion, investing is like 10% money and 90% being able to get access to the information, get unprogrammed, and start thinking in terms of logic and reasoning, as opposed to thinking in terms of, well, I'm gonna get this guy that I just met, or my homeboy knows a guy who can help me with this deal. And everybody walks in there, and then, they have their lawyers, you have the owner, they present you with a contract, they let you read it, and it's like a huge stack of papers. You don't have time. They don't want to give you time to read all that, because they're going to say, okay, you have an hour to read it, but after the hour is over with, the deal ends. So they put that kind of pressure on you. So if your lawyer's not there on time, if you're a financial manager kind of looks at it, it's like, yeah, it's good, and it's not really good. They don't really give you a lot of time. They put that pressure on you. And, a lot of people, when they're faced with a really lucrative opportunity and they haven't really done any research before going in there, and they're not really business savvy, they'll take that hour to go through papers, but then it's written in legalese. So now they don't really know exactly what they're looking at. And they're just like, well, you know what? It's $80 million. That's really all I want. I'm just going to sign. And then later on, they're like, oh, I got ripped off. No, you didn't get ripped off. You just were ignorant.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't pay attention at all. And that's crazy how they give you an hour pretty much to say, all right, give you a whole stack of papers to be able to look over. That shows you that whatever you're about to sign, you're about to get messed around big time. But
yeah, because before I signed my officer contract when I was in the Army, I went and got a general to be a mentor. I had some other officers that I knew that I had met and introduced myself to at different social events. I tagged them to be mentors. I also looked up some stuff on Google. I had access to that type of information, and I went in knowing exactly what I was signing and exactly what was going on. And I only had like 15 minutes to read through all that stuff, but I already was able to understand and comprehend everything because I had already been exposed to it. Then there's the mentors, and then there's different people who already had walked and ventured down that path that I was able to lean on for information. That's another thing is, in addition to hiring the financial planner and making sure, to get the right person for that, being able to self-teach and teach ourselves different financial information terms and whatnot. Also, we have to be able to go to different, I'm going to say, professional societies, join those to get access to mentors. Also go to networking events. Even if you're a basketball player, if you're a football player, go to networking events, meeting people, because you never know. You might meet someone there who used to play ball, but now they represent people, and they can kind of give you some help in discovering stuff, or you might just meet someone who's a mentor, or you might meet someone there who is currently playing ball, or currently in your industry, or currently an entrepreneur, and they're kind of like on the down shift, or the downward, I'm going to say
Mhm.
downward spiral of the career, and they're kind of looking to get more into retirement. And then even tapping into the retirement community, there's also people who they're a part of organizations and they're retired, and they're in the organization socializing, or they may be at a university teaching kind of part-time. You can also lean on to them to have them as mentors and help you. So the sky's the limit. It's just that we have to, unfortunately, we have to shift our circle from people we grew up with, people we hang out with, and people who we're cool with, to people who are professionals in their own right. And that's who we need to have inside of our bubble.
And be mature enough to be able to be in the room. Because you have rappers like the Baby, man. The Baby had a chance to get $10 million, $10 million. No, I think it's around 18, 10 to 18 around that area. But he didn't want to wear a business suit, and he did not show up. The first time they gave him a break. The second time he wasn't serious. He wasn't serious. That shows you somebody messing up the bag. That's you didn't drop the bag. You literally dropped the bag. And before I segue to my next topic, which is commercial real estate, I'm gonna do my screen sharing. I like to say that a lot of dudes mess up their opportunities, man. Prime opportunities. And these will be the same people that will be probably in 15, 20 years be screaming and crying, woe is me. Now, when it comes to the baby will keep continuing getting money, but that $10 to $18 million could have helped greatly. I don't know. Screen, do they, when it's $18 million, that's spread out within like 5-6 years or something? In most contracts,
For
is the money
commercial
spread out?
property.
No, I'm talking like the say if somebody has an endorsement deal, is that like spread it out from year to year? Because the Baby had a chance to get into it was some company that offered $18 million, and he didn't show up, and he wasn't prepared in business. He wasn't mature enough really to be in that room. To be honest, he wasn't mature at all, and he could have got $18 million if he would just play by the rule, play by the book. Come there with a suit, take the grill teeth off, take the earrings off. Don't even have a gold watch. Have like a brown band type of watches. Don't be flashy. Just go to the meeting.
I got to give you pushback on that. So I don't know
Okay.
about the Baby's deal, but the thing about it is when these companies come with a brand deal, they already know your image. So if you walk in there with gold teeth, you walk in there with orange hair like Dennis Rodman, a whole bunch of tattoos, you walk in there with a cigar, you walk in there with a clown suit. They already know your image, and they don't care how you look. They want you to look like that because that's how you make your money, and that's how you get your social equity. So, or not social equity, but that's how you get your social influence. So, in my opinion, I could see it. I mean, even if he did come late, if they really want him,
he missed the first trip, man. It was supposed to be an easy trip from North Carolina to Miami. It was supposed to be an easy trip, and he missed that one. But go ahead.
but see, even if he misses an appointment to sit with them, if it's a brand deal, it's more than likely they're coming to him because they want him to endorse their brand. So I think it's more to it than just him missing a meeting and showing up, looking however he normally looks. I think what it was, I think he may have showed up late, and he didn't want to maybe reschedule or something, or maybe it has to be more to the story, because it's just my opinion from what I've seen and from different brand deals where people, where the person that they're wanting to brand with doesn't kind of is not, you could say, not professional, not timely, due to like the internet, email, texting, rescheduling. There's a whole host of different ways. Well, they'll work with you to get you to sign that contract to endorse their brand because you're a part of their marketing plan more than likely. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Baby's deal. I do know that he's real popular. I
Yeah.
do know that he sells a lot of albums, and he has like different stuff on social media. I do think that it is good to have like a manager, and like the manager
Well,
can
he
like
don't have
tell
a
you all.
professional management. He don't even have professional management. I think he on the homie system. Somebody that he knows that's older than him that he trusts. I think that's his manager.
I mean, that's actually fine because it's better than a stranger. Because I mean, the thing is, like between a stranger and someone who may not necessarily
Mhm.
be all that good, ultimately the baby has to be the one who is the most knowledgeable person in the room because no
That's
one's going to
true.
take care. No one's going to take care of him better than himself. So
Exactly.
I think like if we knew like the details of why that deal didn't go through and all the particulars and everything. Uh, Usually it's a little bit more that goes into that. Like they decided that the meeting was going to be at this time on this day, and him being a no-show was communication to them that he didn't want the deal. Maybe they gave it to somebody else, or maybe he didn't show up. They couldn't find him, and then the management was just like, "Oh, I can't find him," and then they just decided to cancel. I mean, I don't know, it's a whole bunch of details.
I
You
agree.
more you
I
more
agree.
than likely you more than likely know more than I do as far as that situation.
Well, it's a very nuanced deal because for one thing, it was $18 million to be projected, something where a 4-year deal. So it could be around him getting at least 5 million a year, about 3.7 to 4.1 a mil a year, spread it out. I don't know if it's cash liquid or is it monthly payment, but it could have been some money that he could have used. Like I'm to the purpose, like Black Route say, man. Let's get to this money. Let's get to this money. It's about finding deals. I don't know. With me, I'm capturing all deals. If I'm trying to capture as much deals so I can be able to leverage, because that's pretty much the cash source. Everybody needs a cash source in order to leverage, because there's people that are making plays. Black, white, Asian, Mexican, young, old. Like I saw something on Forbes. They got somebody like in their 70s finally at the millionaire mark, and I'm like, wow, that's off of retirement. And it's about capturing payments. To my transition, I'm going to go to my favorite website about commercial real estate. I'm going to my favorite website because I just love how people can pretty much buy and build and just do value add and just create so much source of income and develop land. Oh shit! I think I kicked out my man on the panel. Hold up. Screen, if you're there, come back in, man.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I was wondering,
Okay.
if you have the tab separate, what you're
No, that's
trying to
real
show
estate markets.
you
They said Austin, Charlotte. Charlotte has a lot of growth. You hear me?
oh yeah, you're Borgen.
Right there. Like, god damn, hold on.
All right, so now you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're
Can
loud
you
and
hear me?
clear.
Okay. No, I saw Austin, Charlotte, and I was looking at Las Vegas. And only why I keep say in Vegas is because I think there's gonna be a migration of people from Cali moving to Vegas. Like there's gonna be a Texas migration. I think anywhere that's pretty much cheap. I think a lot of people from California is pretty much gonna migrate. Probably not in this future, this current state, but I think in the far future, I think 3 to 5 years, people are gonna transition more down south. So there's already demographic change.
Yeah, people are already starting to do that. As far as migrating to Nevada and then down south, the cost for U-Hauls to leave California are more expensive than to go into California, which is a sign that businesses like U-Haul and others are starting to see that people are leaving. The positive thing about that is if people are leaving en masse, that creates opportunity for people who are still going to be there. Because California, I mean, you're right there on the coast. So you have access to the ports. You also have access to things that are not available down south. Down south, there's always going to be issues, especially with, I mean, the cost of living is lower. But then again, if you're dependent on the job market, you might not necessarily be competitive for the influx of different people who are wanting to enter into the workforce. So, because I moved from down south to out west, because I wasn't trying, you know, I'm not about that down south life. I grew up down there. No thanks.
Like right now, people are literally scratching and clawing. People are literally transferring all their beliefs for cheap rent. You know, me personally, I think that the more and more people that move down south, I think the price is going to go up down south. Like Austin, the median income that I saw in Austin, Texas, was $292,000. And that's like an average aggregated median price. And Charlotte, that price is starting to go up as well. Actually, the growth in Charlotte actually 5 times its level. But
yeah, the main issue. The main issue becomes the overpopulation, not having many opportunities for the job market, and then unless somebody goes down there and they, make money over the internet, or they have a cash flow that's not dependent on working for someone else, they can live wherever and be fine. And then even if you do get a job and then you move down there, you and your family, or just you, just finding a place to live and understanding that you don't own the job, so you may end up losing the job, and now you're in a place that's not your home because of this job and it didn't fall through. So it's a lot to factor in and consider. Me personally, I like being on the coast because you get exposed to the influx of the international market, including foreigners, because it's easier if you're able to network with people, let's say, who are from China, or they're American, or they're Chinese American. If you network with them and you trust them, it's easier to do business in China with them on your side, as opposed to just going in there. Same thing with someone who's Latino. If you're able to network with them, it's easier to go into the market in Mexico, Central America, and even South America, if you have someone who looks like them, to be able to do business down there. Unfortunately, we as even though we're citizens of the world, there are some people who still have hangups, and there's some people who they only want to buy from people who look like them. So it is what it is on that.
Well, that's where I got a solution, man. That's why you get a buffer, like
right. That's why I was saying you get a Chinese American.
If I'm at a good old boys, if I feel like this is a good old boys round table, Roundtable. I got a JV, a partnership with somebody that I know and trust, and actually put money in my pocket. And we do business and everything is even and square. But I do agree with you. You got to blend in, like having your Hispanic, your partner that works, having your Asian partner that works as well. Matter of fact, that's strategic. That's actually strategic. You got your buffer, and the buffer can be able to be used and leveraged to be able to help the partnership even stronger. Because it's a partnership. I got the strategy. He pretty much has the access, and plus he knows people on top of that. And you don't know who that they might have access to. Like the Asian partner can probably know lenders ready to go, that knows them, have a track record with them, can be able to get access to lending, credit, cash, cashier's checks directly, stuff like that is a great testament of what needs to be done. Like that leverage, that having a buffer, teams, it works. Because we should not always try to go solo dolo screen. Like I know that we're both individualists, but we still have to work in teams. Because I believe in rugged individualism, but working in smart strategic teams where they have access to people, or they can be able to get quicker access to people. But
Well,
go ahead.
I don't believe in rugged individualism, where it's us, a person against the world. I believe individualism as in the opposite of collectivism, putting yourself first, being selfish. Of course, we want to align with people who have a self-interest, who supports our self-interest, and then we can have a common interest. But you can still be individualistic while working in a group, because when you make your decisions, you're like, okay, do I get out more than I put in? If the answer is no, then you shouldn't be in this group. That's kind of the reason why people like us aren't really big on church. So with church, they tell you to be
but I'm
poor.
Jewish. That's funny. I'm Jewish though, but I don't believe in the construct of the church though either. I'm Jewish. I pretty much read Torah every day though, but I don't force people into my religion. But keep going, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just like to say that.
You're good. I mean, it's your show. So as far as like myself, that's the reason why I don't believe in the aspect of church, because they want you to be poor to enter into, let's say, heaven. I don't know. It stopped me if you don't want this conversation to kind of get to that point, but they want you to be poor to enter in the heaven, but they want your tithes and offering. So the collective, which is the church, they want your resources from you, but they want you to not have resources in your life. So it's kind of like a conflict. And then also they want you to sacrifice for the collective, for the church, the collective to grow. However, you yourself don't really get anything from them. It's rare that
I do agree.
Church.
I agree with you. It's a lot of groupthink. It's too much groupthink. And that groupthink turns to hive mind behavior. But yeah, man. Screen. I'm just gonna have to transition. But you help me when it comes to financial information and access to a lot of good keynotes. But when it comes to aspects of collectivism, I do agree that it has a lot of negatives due to the fact that you're trying to build with 10,000 people, 10,000 motives, and a million of different emotions. Emotions can be up, down, sideways. Individualism when it comes to in your view, and I actually agree with your view of individualism, the ability to be selfish and be able to focus on self, but also to provide value to others and cultivate a smart partnerships. I do agree with you on business groups, and these are business groups that buy a lot of estate that I see. I'm about to show y'all and screen share. I found the website work.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna actually talk about I'm
Hmm.
actually going to do a show later on. It's going to be pro collectivism. And I'm going to lay out exactly what is needed for collectivism to work and why it can't be applied to humans. So,
Can you see the screen?
yeah, I can.
Can you see the screen?
The audience can too.
You see the
Yeah, I can.
okay. You see the properties. Okay.
Yeah, they're like
But keep
four
going.
point two
I was check.
million. And see, the thing is, like, when with these properties or these buildings with the land combined, a lot of people are like, oh, how am I going to get the capital to make purchases on those properties? You do it through debt. See, when we grow up, we learn about debt as in getting a credit card for a department store, buying furniture or clothes, purses, shoes, hair extensions, makeup. Makeup's actually very expensive these days. So we know about debt and aspect of that, or buying a home we live in, or getting a car off of a lot. But we're not taught about good debt, because everything I just named is bad debt. We don't talk about good debt as in using debt to acquire assets that are going to make you money, that can pay back the debt you just took out, that can go back into the business and also pay you, which is passive income, and you can use that to do whatever you want. So we don't really talk about how to use debt to get those things. And there's two ways you can get properties like that. You can
Yeah.
use time to build up a portfolio with different asset classes and then borrow against it, and and then also go to a financial institution like a bank or a credit union and say, hey, like right now, like me personally, for my
Oh,
business,
this is
I have,
Amazon joint right here. This is the Amazon joint right here. This is the triple net lease. See if that shows any cash flows. But like you were saying, screen. Listening.
okay. So you go into a financial institution like a bank or credit union, and you say, okay, I got, like, so me personally, for my business, I have 45K in assets under management. So I could say, okay, I could borrow against my own portfolio and then my personal investments, and I have 100K in assets I can borrow from. I could talk to the bank and partner with them and say, okay, I want to acquire an apartment building. I want to acquire a mall. Can you go into business with me? I give you 100K cash as a down payment. You finance the rest, and I pay you back with the outflows, or no, I'll pay you back with the inflows that the mall or the Amazon property is going to pay me, and I'll pay back the loan over the course of like 30 years. More than likely, they're probably going to say no. They may say yes. It's possible for them to say yes. I mean, 100K is 100K, but let's say they say no for this example. That's why it's good to be surrounded by people who are also investors, business owners, because then you can form a business group and you can pool your assets. But it's very difficult to pool your assets with people who they spend all day uh, not really making moves to put them in a position to agree to this type of venture. So the
Yeah,
property
because
is
this is
6.7.
6.7. It's a 10.4 acre. This is the name of the licensed broker. That well, the two that's on file. Two that's on file. Plus, it's industrial land subtype development site. Tenancy, it's a single. Cap rate 6.02, and rent bumps 1.5% yearly bumps.
And
That's
see,
what they project. Now, all this is projection. Then you got
when
your land. Yeah.
so when whoever like his website this is, or whoever is the real estate agent or the seller or the investment broker, whoever is in charge of the financials of this, when they go to explain that stuff, they're going to explain it in in-house terms, and they're going to use legalese, and they're going to use things that they know about. So that's why it's good to have a business group. That way, as stuff is being explained, at least your onesies and twosies will understand and be able to communicate to the other. So this property is $6.7 million, which is $6,700,000. So if you have 30 people, let's say you have 30 people or 30 people as far as individuals.
I added the cash flow, but keep going. Screen, you can keep going, man.
Oh, in case you have to say you have 30 people, which includes businesses, investors, and individuals. If you have 30 people, $6.7 million divided by 30 people, all you have to do is come up with 224,000 each. So I could get into a deal like that because I can borrow against my own assets, and then the underwriter would finance the rest, whoever is going to underwrite the entire deal. So I could be a part of a 30-person business group. You probably could as well, to be able to acquire this Amazon property. And this could be one of many things in a portfolio that can to give us inflows, cash inflow that is, and benefit us from years to come. Because the thing about debt is, using this good debt to purchase this asset, the asset's going to eventually, more than likely, hopefully, not only increase in value, but to be able to increase the inflows it gives based off of increased net income by offering different products and services. So you'll be able to pay down the debt. You'll be able to have some to reinvest into the business, and have some as passive income that goes to ourselves for whatever we want to do. That's just the theory of it. And once you crunch the numbers, look at financial statements, it can be sound. But then again, this whole thing I'm presenting is based off of 30 people who are already in a position to be able to be a part of this opportunity. There's so many people who are not at that level, but they want to be a part of the deal. And that's kind of what the problem is with a lot of we'll just say industry building. Is there's people who want to be at the table, but they really haven't met the eligibility mentally, financially, even credit wise, even just in their track record to be able to have a seat at the table.
Yeah, yes, because for one thing, the cash flow is $401,000. That's what the website says, but you always got to get your trailing 12. The trailing 12 is the last previous 12 payments that's on file, the rent roll. That's something that's like a real estate fundamental. They said it's $401,000 NOI, net operating income. That's pretty much how you can see how much it's supposed to be projecting coming in from the balance sheet. And they got these pro formas, and I don't like pro formas because pro forma is like projection, and pro formas is like damn near like lying. The pro formas say 438,000, but you look at the books and you say, nah, it's 375. Hold on, y'all trying to pucker up your numbers based off of what the area says that the cash flow is supposed to be. But I got another property that I want to show y'all. I just want to pretty much show you the Houston, Texas joint that has the Amazon. Everybody talks about Bezos. He's winning too much. Let's take advantage on his winning, because if people invest in Amazon stock more than cry and just buy Amazon mindlessly, I think we would be in a better position. I think if people can be able to be in qualified business groups, and with the business group, you have equity in the deal. You have equity in the deal. You have a group of people that can be able to do the governance, delegating, properly negotiating, and not useless talk and filibustering. And this next property is an AT&T AT&T joint. And I just wanted to show y'all. Let me mute up.
Yeah, I'm invested in Amazon, but it's really good to be on the, we'll just say, the middle of the table, to be able to actually stand up our own Amazon to compete with them.
You get access to the Gulf Freeway. You get access to the Gulf Freeway. It says dense retail area that offers access to the Gulf Freeway and Sam Houston Tollway. Neighboring retailers include Walmart, Shoe Carnival, Marshalls, and Ross. AT&T has been around at locations since July 2010. AT&T has 2 5-year renewal options remaining with 10% increases every 5 years. Now, off of that alone, what do you think about that screen? I can repeat it if you need me to, but they have renewals. This is specialized type of lease.
So me personally,
it says it has 2. Yes.
So me personally, I like looking at financial statements as opposed to their biased, more than likely biased website. But just at first glance, just is more than likely at first glance. I mean, leasing it and getting those inflows. I mean, it's an AT&T building. Well, it's an AT&T building plus company. From first glance, it briefs well. It sounds good. I of course would want to crunch more numbers, ask for more. I would want to know because the building's already stood up, so it's already operating. So I would want the location information for that specific location. I would have to actually physically go out there and look at what is in the area, look at the median household income of the area, look at the zip code, look at the, realtor.com, look at the crime rates. Because the main thing is, people are constantly buying phones. So that location
Westheimer is like the best area, is like the financial areas when it comes to big money people use. That's really where rich people fly.
So people are constantly buying phones. So the issue is, I want to know, like, how many different ways does that location make money as opposed to AT&T as a company? Because if that location only makes money from the purchase, from the selling of their retail and signing people up for contracts, then I'd have to look at, okay, how many different ways do they make money? How are sales doing? Because right now it seems like, because of the pandemic, brick and mortar is not doing so well, but businesses that are online only, or if they're in the distribution or food industry, those are the only ones that's really doing well. So I got to take that in consideration with the social distancing. How have the revenue, how their inflows been due to the pandemic?
I agree.
I'd have to.
You got to look at the trailing 12 months. Trailing 12. Make sure that you can be able to, like I was mentioning, to observe the cash flows, because everything is adjusted, and everything is definitely not what it's supposed to be on a regular day. But
yeah, so pretty much everything that, in my opinion, everything that is involved with brick and mortar, I got to look at how things have gone, or what the trends of it have been since March of this year, when the pandemic took the largest hit in America. So I have to look at that data. have to look at, the different ways or different products and services they offer. And that's how the location makes money. So just from first glance, it sounds good. It looks good. It briefs well. But personally, and I think everyone else should as well, should take a deep dive and just have like a little checklist of different things to ask for. And if that stuff's not available to them and they don't have a warm and fuzzy, then, walk away. But that's with every place that's brick and mortar. I think car dealerships, restaurants, both fast food and dine-in, and also like, retail like Walmart, Family Dollar, those things are going to be able to stand the test of time because they're going to be deemed essential if we do go back to like a quarantine. However, everything else that where you have to physically go in there to make a purchase, a lot of those places have hurt because there's always going to be a line of people waiting to get inside. A lot of businesses were shut down for months and they've struggled, and some of them are opening up and they're hobbling. They're not really producing like they used to. Some of them are kind of borderline bankruptcy, and owners are looking to sell off a lot of stuff. There's a lot to factor in on the September 18th. However, everything on the website, it looks good. It looks appetizing, but that could be, a reason to look more into it. Not trying to be pessimistic, but just kind of cautious, especially when it comes to purchasing an existing business and not necessarily knowing how the track record has been for that existing business. So I got, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, Las Vegas has been limited. I have to go get my oil changed right now. If not, then they pretty much closed down early. So I'm going to go down to the chat room. Thank you for letting me on the panel. I'll listen to the rest of the presentation from the chat. And I look forward to, of course, seeing you from the chat and then just seeing you later, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, for sure, man. I got to get off too. So I pretty much like you. I'll be back live streaming in about 5 hours. I'll be done talking to my business partners. That'll be the time I'm done talking to my employees. So I'll be back with some more real estate joints, and we need to get people cities. I need to figure out who is in which city, who is operating on which city, who is trying to become something in a city, which markets that you're invested in, which investment tools are you getting involved in. But it's about business, and everything is about creating a standard for yourself and also become more of a person that you was yesterday. We need a better future. We need more futuristic people. We need more tech people. We need more real estate people. And we just need to be able to focus on what's meant for our destiny, man. What's your goal? What's my goal? Real estate. Everything is about real estate. And I just want to say to the people in the chat, in closing, I'd like to say I thank you, Doug, for the donation. Thank you, Wadner. Salute to you, Wadner. Salute to you. I'm unique. I'm unique. I didn't want to butcher your name, but I'd like to thank you. Maya, I'd like to thank you as well. Anybody else that was in the shadows listening, I'd like to thank you as well for tuning in. At the end of the day, it's about finding ways how to be able to create more opportunities for yourself. There's plenty of opportunities. People are taking advantage. But all ending, salute to everybody and have a nice day.